mean, masks are a lot like condoms, I think. If you wear a mask or a condom, your likelihood of getting a disease from whatever setting that you're in decreases substantially, but they also take a lot of the pleasure of doing whatever the activity is that you're doing. What's up? My name's Jacob, and on my channel I watch videos and you watch me watch videos. And today we're going to watch a video by Vox, and it's Are We Done with Face Masks? I'll be having a day today and I'm going to hop into it.
Masking up is one of the first things we did to slow the spread of COVID-19. And it worked. Study after study has shown that when we implemented and followed mask mandates, cases fell. But now, those mandates are
What happened to all those Trump supporters saying that masks don't work? It's just cloth. It can't do anything.
being lifted, and guidance from public health experts is changing. For many of us, it feels like we're headed towards a new phase in the pandemic. But it's not over. Not yet.
Question mark,
So,
question
as
mark,
we weather
question
the
mark.
third year with COVID-19, what do we do with the mask?
So the ideal risk mitigation is to have everyone wearing masks.
But of course, we're not going to wear masks all the time for the rest of our lives. Moving forward,
It will be left more to individuals in most settings to decide whether they feel like they're at higher risk or it's a higher risk setting where they want to wear a mask.
fortunately, evidence shows that masks still offer protection even if you're the only person wearing one, especially N95 or KN95.
I mean, masks are a lot like condoms, I think. If you wear a mask or a condom, your likelihood of getting a disease from whatever setting that you're in decreases substantially, but they also take a lot of the pleasure of doing whatever the activity is that you're doing. Condoms, masks, same thing.
Types, which have proven to be exceptionally effective. This applies even if you're vaccinated and boosted. Layering your protection can reduce your chance of a breakthrough infection.
What I would hope is that people would view masks as a wonderful, inexpensive medical intervention.
So when
Just like condoms.
you're deciding whether or not to mask up, consider the weather. Not the real weather, pandemic weather, which can rapidly change from week to week. If it's looking bad, you might want to bring an umbrella, as in, wear a mask.
Just like if the girl that you're sleeping with is known to be promiscuous, maybe you should bring a condom.
Kind of evolving situation. We have been since the beginning of 2020, but there are some principles we can follow here.
Starting with assessing the case rates or hospitalizations around the community.
So looking at cases per 100,000, you really want it to be at least under 10 per 100,000, ideally in single digits. And not just for one day, but you could look at something like the 7 or 14-day average for an area.
Luckily, you can find that data
That's
on
lit.
a variety
That's
of
litty.
websites, including the CDC, New York Times, Johns Hopkins, or even
I'm in Kentucky. Jefferson County. Good, right?
even simply by searching on Google. These numbers will change depending on the location, and also over time. There's some evidence that COVID could eventually become seasonal like the flu, which means cases may drop in the spring or summer.
Isn't coronavirus like a cold? Isn't that seasonal? Don't we get that like 2 times a year, every single year since like, I don't know, forever? I don't think that's going to go away anytime in the near future. I know that the COVID-19 coronavirus is like kind of gnarly compared to other coronaviruses, but it still is a cold, and so the infectiousness of it probably is similar to that of a cold. So it'll probably be around forever.
Only to spike again in the fall and winter.
Just like a cold.
Next, it's important to consider the environment. Being outside is a really good start.
We're heading into spring, and I think there will be less tendency to be indoors in crowded spaces, poorly ventilated spaces, for example. So that also helps with reduction of transmission.
But if you're indoors, you should
I just gave you COVID.
take a few things into consideration.
Ventilation and the number of people, the size of the space, and then the times that you spend in that space. Those are the main factors.
Just like condoms.
A packed indoor concert, for example, is going to be higher risk than going to a grocery store where people are more spaced out. And events or locations that are checking vaccination status or requiring a negative test are an even lower risk. But even then, you should consider one other factor: yourself.
And that includes assessing your own risk of severe disease and hospitalization and possibly even death. And
Just like condoms. If you have an STD, you should wear a condom.
that has to do, of course, with your underlying medical conditions, whether or not you're immunosuppressed, whether or not you've been vaccinated and boosted.
Even if you yourself are low risk, you should also consider how dangerous an infection would be for the people closest to you. We've learned a lot since the beginning
If you're cheating on your wife, you should definitely wear a condom.
of the pandemic. And you've heard it 1,000 times. We're all in this together. Your actions and decisions will continue to affect those around you.
If you are in one of those lower risk categories and don't have to wear a mask in all those settings, understand that if the risk rises again, you might need to.
We're not
Like if you're in a long-term relationship with a significant other that you really care about and you're not cheating on her and she's not cheating on you and you both know that neither of you has an STD, the likelihood that you get an STD is pretty low, so you probably don't need to wear condoms, especially if you do not care if you have a baby or not. But if one of you starts cheating on the other one, then maybe you should start wearing condoms again.
not trying to stop every runny nose in the country. We're really trying to prevent people from going to the hospital, and we're trying to prevent our healthcare system from falling apart.
In the meantime, be mindful and show some compassion for other people who may be masking up while you're not. Because your cloudy day may be someone else's hurricane.
No COVID here. I hope you have a good day. Peace out.